podcasting in general.
See, that's what I'm telling you. They're gonna make a
everything
decision.
everything is a scope.
Yes,
Rogan,
but
even though Rogan is
you will
like
carve
the
Rogan
God.
out. You will carve Rogan out when you make decisions about podcasting and Spotify.
And I'm
any
saying,
conversation about podcasting and Spotify building, you will carve Rogan out and have a different conversation.
All right, let's say they gave Rogan $300 million for their podcast division. All right, today we're going to decide to walk into the studio and start a back and forth microphone conversation from a camera and just yell at each other back and forth who can deliver lies more entertaining. Because these people don't care about the truth.
Right.
They care about the entertainment. And guess what? I will fully admit too, the liars are way better entertainers than me.
I don't agree with
I
that.
can't keep up with,
I don't agree
with how
with
good
that.
you are at lying in your entertainment.
I don't agree with that.
You're too good at it.
Yes, and I agree with that.
Bucket, because one was a friendship that ended up being a business thing as well. These are now starting from business, but we're becoming friends. At least with this one, I'm in control or scared who's on the other side of it. Shit, even on this press run where I got some shit off that I had been holding in.
When he is,
the whole podcast division will be another 300
are
million.
you listening to what I'm saying? $50 million a week. Are you hearing that? Google this if you think
I'm aware. No, I'm well aware.
11 million every time I press upload. Do you understand what that warrants in this
Do you
space?
understand that the download theory of podcasting is changing already?
Of course, they will not touch Rogan
and I'm saying in that case,
nothing that has to do with Rogan.
He's not going to make $1 more than on the next one.
What?
When Rogan may be the only profitable one.
I think they
and
cut.
You think they're going to give Rogan, what's 8 plus 3? They're going to give him $1 billion? No. They're going to cut the whole fucking thing down.
No.
They're going to cut everything down, including Rogan.
No.
Yes.
No. And
they're going to cut the whole division down.
No.
And if you ain't talking no dough, then I ain't interested. Look, they say the sky's the limit, I'm going farther than that. She keep blowing on my phone, so I called her mama, come get your daughter back. They just want a little bit of fame, get them boys whack. What, baby? Little one eye, bust your brain, better get a hard hat. They say the sky's the limit, I'm going farther. They can try to, but can't kill me. I'm immortal. I just bought a nigga life, ass and did a side, come with that order. You lazy, the reason you broke, you don't know how to hustle. Don't try me, they know I'm stressed, son. Look, red rum, red dot. Hit the block when 12 come. Look, know I'm thuggin' to the fullest, asking for a bullet, cause he never felt one. Stick him to the wall, this a nail gun. Riding with my dogs tryna nail something. Yeah. I said on you and he got your partner too.
Later, so right. But Canal Street, I don't think is the best representation of New York energy. It's an accurate one. It's fucking nuts, but it's like times 10 on Canal. It's super overwhelming. Right. You go to the outer boroughs, it's a little calmer and more relaxed.
And then last time I was here, I got finessed, and I'll tell you how. Again, it's all about understanding where you're going. So going to New York, my first time in years, or on my own, I said, all right, just like somewhere else, just like LA, get there, give me a rental car, do the same thing. The rental car was the biggest mistake I could have ever made.
Can't find parking, have to pay for it. Yes. Just walk around and take the train.
It is a fucking beast. Even Uber. I've been going Uber, and that's been cheaper literally than if I would have, because I did research, right? This time I said, no rental car. We're going to Uber around, see what's going on. I'm prepared to spend $1,000 on Uber. Great. Cool. I went to my hotel, and I just, for inquiring minds, want to know. I said, hey, if I wanted to park my car here, if I had a rental, what does that look like? You know what they told me? $75.
I would have said like $120 for the night.
Check it out. No. $75 with no in and out privilege.
Oh yeah, that's the bullshit with New York.
So if I gotta come and change clothes because I'm doing another part, $75. Come back again, is it $75? Come back that night, that's $225 for that day. Then the rental car by itself would have been $800 for the 4 or 5 days. Yeah. I started looking at things like that, but it's weird.
Well, that's why even like hiring the driver for the week in New York makes more sense because they can double park outside.
Right.
Like it's easier to move around. But
right.
Even now, like I live in Jersey, but my girl lives in the city. I park at her garage for her building, and then I take the train. Like
makes sense.
That's how I move around in New York to this day. I'm still on the train.
I couldn't imagine people not people's gonna bother you. Like, yo, Loon, what's going on, man? I've been trying to get on with this shit. Like,
New York's a little different.
I
like,
know.
People will say hello to you, but New Yorkers, we have just a weird pride that
people not even saying hello.
Yeah, they just
a
gonna
dude was pressure washing some shit. I'm coming down the thing. He pressure washing, and he stopped and he looked dead at me. I said, "What's going on, my guy?" And he did nothing. He gave me nothing.
But that's the beauty of New
But guess
York.
what?
Everyone feels like, who are you? Even if you somebody who
Man,
like we don't
I
care.
push right up on it. Hey, I said hello, sir.
Yeah, with the power washer.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hello. I said, damn, man, it's fucked up that they like got that kind of energy. Cause my thing is to check temperatures. Hey, what's up, man? And I'm trying to really see what you own. Is you own something?
It's almost I don't want to get too deep, but it's a beautiful give and take of minding your business. So like if I see somebody with a power washer, I don't have an ego to think he has to stop power washing for me to walk down the sidewalk. I'll go around because I know next time on the next block someone's gonna not mind my business and do. It's a give and take in New York. It's actually beautiful that we all kind of operate that way. Where we get out of each other's way because we know we want people to get out of our way.
But you missing it. I didn't want him to stop pressure washing. I wanted him to speak.
Yeah. But we don't do. That's something we don't do in New York. Everyone kind of keeps to themselves when you're in a public space.
For what though?
Because we grow up on top of each other. So you're kind of.
You gotta act like you're here, but you ain't here. Like I'm like, what are they playing? Some weird bullshit game? So I'm here, dude. Somebody's right there.
But imagine growing up on top of people your whole life. It's almost a survival tactic for your own mental health to not have communication with people that you're like this with. Like you're just you're just trained.
I think you need to make sure he's not a serial killer or he's not a dangerous guy. See, I'm more threat based than privacy based. I need to figure out, this nigga's who's this dude? I don't need this strange man living on top of me in the bodega, and I don't know that he's some weirdo that is in the kids, and I got a kid. Like I'm
speaking of public transportation and walking around in the street.
But I thought you related it to growing up around each other.
Within the community, of course, you have to get to know everyone around you.
Right.
But because we're already living in that world, imagine walking outside and every time I sit on the bus when I'm knee to knee with somebody on the train,
they want to talk. Every time they want to talk.
You would lose your fucking mind.
Yeah,
so when it comes to transit and commuting, everybody in New York just shuts the fuck up because.
And this isn't commuting. This is walking to Chick-fil-A.
That's commuting though.
Well,
to some degree.
He's not walking. He's stationary. I'm walking.
Yeah.
He's stationary doing something, and I go around him this way, right? I go behind him, right? And then he looks dead at me, and I said, "Yo, what's up, my guy?" And he gives me nothing. Now, back in the day, because you got to be tough to do shit like that.
But you kind of look like the serial killer in New York in that regard. Like someone just saying what's up to you is a threat. Because we keep to ourselves when we're not in our own community, when we're just walking around.
Nah, I don't think so. People have said, what's up, that dude was an ass. Well, I do think New York has that energy where they don't speak. Because I have seen, like, I tell you what else I've been doing. I've been walking smoking and nobody's been paying me any mind.
Of course. I mean, if you look at the things people do in New York streets in general, smoking is
that's what I'm saying.
The least thing that,
and so I've been peeping that
people would care about.
And then I've also said to
people
myself,
take a shit and everyone just walks past.
That's what I'm saying. I said to myself also when I was in my Uber, I said this is a very dangerous place because again, where I'm from, see, I'm always danger based because I don't know, something is there with it, right? So I'm saying if something happens, there's no way ambulance can get to you.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that the police can get here to stop anything. Even when they hit the lights, it's like, nothing's going on, my brother. He got his nothing's happening.
I mean, up until recent, which I think is the whole world, not just New York, random acts of violence weren't New York City based. It was very much the people you knew. So
okay.
That's why, of course you're always keeping your head on a swivel, but that crazy shit that just happens when you're on the train, you keep to yourself because it's not your business. It's somebody just doing whatever.
And I be seeing that going viral. Is that real shit?
Now it's changed now, but I think it's changed in the whole world. New York is just part of that, where there's just been wild shit happening. But prior to that, like when I was growing up, the people you needed to fear the most were the people you were aware of, like that you knew. It wasn't strangers. But when walking down the sidewalk in fucking Manhattan, you wasn't like,
not if you're from Manhattan. But if you're from the South.
I'm not from Manhattan, but when we would go to the city, we were way more concerned with the people in Queens than we were in fucking Manhattan.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of relieving, even if you saw some crazy shit, to know that it doesn't affect you. It doesn't bother. They're not bothering you. Don't bother them. Even if they're doing some wild shit that looks dangerous, they're not gonna attack you. That's changed, but that's been a recent thing.
Yeah, and it's your city, so I think to somebody that's coming into New York, everybody's just avatars.
Yeah,
it's not a. I'm in Manhattan. I'm in Queens. I mean, it's like, yo, all of you guys are the same, and you're moving funny, and it's a lot of you.
Which is funny because we're the most divided fucking city ever. Like, it's different cities. Every borough is a different city.
Yeah.
Shit, the neighborhoods within each borough are different cities. It's like New York is extremely divided in that regard.
Yeah.
Like when we go out of town, and actually that's why like Atlanta's been so successful in music. Even if you guys have internal issues in Atlanta, you still move as Atlanta. New York, we've had trouble with that for quite some time.
Right.
But even how the city was designed, it was divided in 5 boroughs, and we're egotistical people, and we look at it that way.
Right.
It's New York City, but if I'm in another city, where are you from in New York?
Queens.
Yeah.
It's the Bronx, like, BX type thing. Yeah.
When you meet people from New York, rarely do they say, I'm from New York City.
I'm from Brooklyn, Harlem. Type thing.
I'm from East Harlem. Like, they'll even go that far out of town. And that's just a mentality that we all unfortunately possess.
Man.
But, you know.
And I also seen coming up here in the Uber, someone again, because there's no room on the street, and evidently someone made a weird move and took somebody's whole door, popped out. They're in the store somewhere. They're somewhere, don't even know, their car's sitting out there like that, and it's literally smushed out to where it's looked like it's open, but it's been ripped off the hinge from a car.
That's their fault though. Why you have your car door open?
No, I think it was closed.
Oh, you think someone opened it and then hit it?
No, I think someone hit it open.
Yeah.
Like, I think someone may have got over, hit it, and I'm gone. I'm just keep going. So it's just weird. All of that shit just is me picking up on it, man. I'm like, yo, this is a lot to deal with.
Yeah. It's
mental health wise, because I'm a guy, I need space. Like in the South, we got land. I love my land. Man, I go out in my socks to get grounded on the grass, like all these people telling me. You know, and I love to just be out there, but it's out here, it's like, yo, I'm in the hotel that costs an arm and a leg, and look right there, and it's somebody on the balcony or some shit. It's like a house or some shit, like right within, and I'm like.
Yeah, until I got to like my mid-20s and started like really being in other cities and really getting to know other people, I didn't even realize, anxiety wasn't even really a thing at that point, but I did realize that, I do have a lot of anxiety.
Yes.
Just built in me from being here.
And
like, it's just a lot going on at all times, but I normalized it. So that's where I think you get people that are dead quiet walking down the street or on the train and not acknowledge anyone, because we're dealing with our own fucking anxiety of insane things happening around us at every hour, at every moment. We're just sitting on the train like this, and there's a million different things happening at this time. So you just kind of numb yourself. That's why we're quiet.
Yeah, and I'm like that. Like, I don't talk, man. Like, everybody that know me from the street, when they saw me podcasting, they said, the fuck? That dude was quiet. Like, he don't, unless you really know me, you don't get nothing from me. Yeah. And also, you don't get the podcast version of me on the street. I need people to understand that.
Yeah.
Like, they'll bump into me and want the podcast version of me. That's not gonna happen. I have to be extremely comfortable and relaxed to even get in that mode to pod for real. Like, I'm talking when I'm really in the weeds.
Yeah.
You know, on something.
Yeah, and I've struggled with that too, because a lot of times, like, I'm so appreciative of our listeners and our fans, but when I do see them when I'm out, they typically want to have a mini podcast right then and there.
Every time.
And I appreciate them so much that I try my fucking best to do it, but I'm like, dog, I'm not in hip hop debate mode right now. Like, I don't care about Meek versus Drake right now. Like, I just don't. It's just not in my brain.
Yeah, I tell my fans, listen, I'm lighting the way, and that's it. That's all I can do. I'm not gonna be able to touch all y'all. Y'all gonna exhaust me, family. listen to the pod. I'm probably the only person putting real gems in it, like literally getting to the meat and potatoes of what's happening. If you can't get it from there, you ain't on the level to get it from me stopping and talking to you. You see?
Yeah.
Because I leave enough in the podcast. I get so vulnerable and so in the weeds with it on the pod. You can't get that version live anyway, brother.
And I'm talking to people I fuck with.
Exactly.
Which is another
Totally
different part
thing.
of vulnerability
Yes.
and being able to have that
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm kind of an open book to some degree on my pod. So I've had listeners like meet and greets and shit. So I'm like, oh, your aunt still sick? I'm like,
right.
How the fuck? Oh shit, I talked about it.
And
yeah, like, nah, you ain't the one I really want to talk about this with.
Right.
And now I have to go do a show, and now you just reminded me of some shit that I was trying to block out my fucking head.
Right. And then that's what I'm saying. That's why I try not to. And then I'm in the weeds of shit on the pod as well. So again, they're relatable to things like I may talk about a breakup. Forget I talked about it. It just so happened that day the pod was on, something fresh was happening from that, and it just kind of bled over. And now y'all slick know I went through a breakup. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a very weird thing, but they're really invested on podcasts, and that's why I think these kind of conversations are important from people who actually have done business in the space.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, but that's why I tried my best not to come across. Not in an arrogant way, but I'm so appreciative of people that come up and tell me they fuck with the pod. That's why I'm in that catch-22 of that. Because I want, once that stops, then the business stops.
Yes.
Like that's the catch-22 of podcasting. You have to remain relatable, and that's why people come up to you in the street.
Right.
And talk about personal shit.
Right.
Shit. We were walking today. Fan from London just started talking about personal shit right away, and I was like, I mean, yeah. I do want to continue to go to London. I'm glad we have London fans, but you have to have a moment of vulnerability with a stranger. And
I can't do that. And like we were just speaking about, like, I think my history background has a lot to do with my availability in that way. You know, I'm not in a space to, even my own producers who I pay and I hire, I still move without them, right? And it's like, I know at some point that has to stop, but I haven't figured out how to address that, you know, in regards to, like you were just saying to me, yo, you kind of got to have them around you so they can learn you and speak on your behalf, because when you're dealing with certain things, people don't know what you want because you haven't told anyone.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, we went through that, and I don't want to speak for Maul, but I know he'd be perfectly fine with me explaining this point. We went through that early on because Maul is from an untrusting environment where he's, you know, kind of on edge a lot with certain people.
Yes.
So when we were, you know, putting our team and staff together, he was reluctant too of like, all right, maybe it's just I show up and pod. But podcasting, like we're saying, is so vulnerable. Why it's successful is when it becomes organic. And that can't happen unless you're cool with everyone in the room. So much of podcasting is not the microphone. Right. It's the people that edit. It's the people that produce.
Yes.
They need to know you for real, or that content is not going to come across the best way. And we're in an era where TikTok is king. And TikTok is what, fucking 15, 30 seconds at most? We're trying to now take long form content, which is podcasting, and chop that shit down. A 20-minute conversation now needs to be 15 seconds to be effective.
Yes.
And if you don't have an editor or a producer that knows you for real and knows that conversation, it can't work, because there's no way they're going to chop that conversation down correctly to reflect you and your point of view.
Right.
You get the best editor in the world. They know fucking Final Cut better than anyone. They're less valuable than the editor or producer that knows you as a human being.
In podcast in particular, yeah, I believe that. Because I think there's no template. And so you have to kind of carve out and take shit from here, there, and make your own kind of stylistic approach to it. And you can only do that with in-house people, or it's gonna burn you. It's gonna run you crazy trying to do it the other way. So how were you still trusting after the Joe Budden thing? Because I mean, Maul comes off as, like you said, yo, like me, like, yo, especially I done been burnt on that level. How the fuck are you still trusting to be like, yo, I still want to be vulnerable with new people, I still want to meet folks?
I mean, I think that's a different trust level. I don't put those two things in the same bucket because one was a friendship that ended up being a business thing as well. These are now starting from business, but we're becoming friends. Does that make sense? Like
there's different starting points. But I mean, end results. There's no end result for the second one, but I think they arrive at the same place.
At least with this one, I'm in control. So,
but you thought you were in control of the last one,
and I was mistaken.
Right.
Which is what it is, and that's not even really anything that I particularly care to. It's beating a dead horse at this point, so that's not something I care to discuss. But I would discuss viewing them drastically different. Like of course I thought that because I was a friend. Like we were friends, and that's just how I've moved within my life. I've been burnt by friends before that, but that's maybe I'm naive when it comes to friendships. I used to think I was a really good judge of character, but sometimes I haven't been. Now with the other side of that coin, you start within business with people and they can become friends. That's where that differs here, because before it was friends and then we had to do business together. So like your antennas are up in a different way, because you going in not really knowing this person. If you guys become friends, that's amazing. It's better for business. It's better for just life. But before that, my antennas were never up. Like, why would they be up? That's friends. That's just a friend thing. We about to do business together. In the middle of doing business at that time, I was in business with all my other friends, with Palooza and everything. That was just how I was moving in my 20s. Was I don't want to do shit unless it's with my friends. My antennas were never in the regard of who's gonna fuck me over, because I don't walk into friendships that way. Okay, I walk into associationships that way. But friendships, I don't walk in that way.
Here's my thing, though, right? What I think you find the issue is in the friendship. I think the friendship is what pulled the wool over the eyes.
Sure.
Right? So if we both arrive, no matter how you get to being my friend, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's through business, if it's through a girl I know, if it's through a job I had. Once you get to that friend side, you now have the ability to fuck over me. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats projections, like you'll pick Patrick Mahomes for up to 2 passing touchdowns, or Saquon Barkley for more than 60 yards, and you watch the winnings roll in. I've been using Prize Picks, and it's just so simple. I can make my picks and submit an entry in less than 60 seconds. That's just 1 minute, and the withdrawals, it makes the experience even better. After you win, you definitely don't want to wait. And don't miss out on Taco Tuesdays. That's where selected player projections are discounted up to 25%. Go to prizepicks.com, use my code IUTP to receive a guaranteed $50 when you play just $5. Again, that's prizepicks.com, my code IUTP. If you support the show, sign up for Prize Picks, use my code, and watch the winnings roll in. This is daily fantasy sports made easy. Salute to Prize Picks for supporting the movement, and let's get back to the episode. Get to that friend side, you now have the ability to fuck over me, because I handle my friends with a certain vulnerability.
Yeah.
So I think that's more so what I'm saying is, like, I know you approach them different, they arrive different, but they both land in this space where you are vulnerable no matter what to your friends, at least for me.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't understand how you let people even back to that door with everything that's already transpired. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that takes, as cliche as it sounds, that takes therapy. That every situation is not the same situation, and you shouldn't enter it with the baggage that you had before. You should figure out the flags that were within your last situation, whether that be romantic, friendship, business, whatever. You should look back at everything that happened, see the flags, see the moments, and just keep that close to you. You shouldn't, because that's what's so fucked up about not wanting to feel anymore and walking into relationships that way, is that when it's time to feel, you don't know how to feel. Because I did that for a while.
Yeah.
And the best thing I did actually learn in therapy in that regard is it's okay to continue to feel and not walk into situations with that armor on, because you could still, I mean, it's within conversations with real therapists, not the ones that not trendy therapists.
Yeah. But I'm saying the therapist is not dealing with the effects of what happened. So for you to keep telling me,
that's the person you need to talk to. Like, I've trauma bonded with a bunch of people that have been through certain situations that I've been through, but I didn't get any tools from it. I just got somebody that went through something that I went through, and I didn't feel alone. It felt cool to know that there's other people that have been through the hurt that I've been through. And this has nothing to do with pod shit at this point. This is just like my real life.
Yeah.
That I had been through. When I talked to an objective therapist that honestly did not care in particular what I went through, that can just give me an objective view to say, hey, look back at those. What were the red flags? Keep those red flags in your mind when you go in to the next situation, relationship, friendship. But remember, when you still want to continue to feel, right? Like, I don't want to be this cold, shut down person that I was for a really long time. Like, you become that just fuels anger, I feel like, at the end of the day. I have a very short fuse, which is a lot of my built up shit from my childhood, because I never wanted to feel because I felt so much hurt. Now I can at least identify what was going on at the time and realize I'm not going to let that happen to me again. But I want to feel. I'm not going to go into this thinking everything's going to be negative, because I do want love. Like, love is important.
Yeah, it's very important.
Feeling love is important. Giving love is probably more important.
But
I can't give love when I have just this shut off, I've been through so much, so I can't trust anybody. Yeah, that's fucked up. But I can identify what could hurt me again, at least.
Yeah, but shit.
So it's not in vain.
I'm just not a fan of somebody.
I hope that made sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think I just ain't a fan of people telling me, yo, be vulnerable again. And it's like, yo, you know how long it took me to pick myself back up from that? You know what that done to the infrastructure of my life, right? So I have to be extremely careful, Mr. Therapist. But you're telling me, no, you have to, and I'm, no. You don't know what it took to pick myself back up from that. And so I think because I respect process, it's like, almost under no circumstances do I want to ever be put back in that situation where I now have to pick myself back up.
But vulnerability is 99% of a personal thing. We can get on podcasts and talk to people that we trust and care for and be vulnerable with them. We can be vulnerable with a therapist that we don't know from a hole in the wall. The only common factor there is that you're getting your feelings and truth out at that time. It's for you. Sometimes it does not matter who's on the other end. That's actually why I've enjoyed podcasting, back to the fan conversation. We can't see the people that we're talking to right now, but we're being vulnerable. We're getting that out. So sometimes it doesn't matter who's on the other end. It's stuff that we need to get out, and we can't stop ourselves from doing that because we're scared who's on the other side of it. Like, shit, even on this press run where I got some shit off that I had been holding in. Yeah. I didn't kind of care who I was talking to. It was more so I finally was able to get it out. Not that anyone made me feel more comfortable in a certain place. It was just something that I needed to get out, and I felt better after. I saw comments that were hateful. I got it out, though, so I felt better. But so we can't put too much on the person we're being vulnerable to, rather than focus on...
No, you can't. I can't. You can't, but I will. Yeah. Because it's too much. It costs me too much. See, it's what I spend to get back to the place I'm in right now. Yeah. It's too much. No one can comprehend it, right? I had to come from something that I guaranteed these guys haven't came from.
Fair. So, something I wouldn't understand.
It's like, yo, I'm telling you to get all the way back through that. You spent everything you had. And I don't mean money. I mean energy. Mentally spent. Yeah. Right? And if they put me back there at this age, putting me back in that hole, in that dark place with everything I have, because it's no longer even about me. And that's what I try to get therapists and people that talk that to understand that, yo, you want me to focus on me when now I've been put in position of where I'm responsible for other than me. So if I do what you asked me to do and get as vulnerable again and become hurt, now that decision to place myself there now affects all these other people that literally are living off me, my kids, my mom, all these people, because now I can't work. Now I'm feeling down in the dump. I can't get myself back up. It's going to take months. I got to get into these studies, these books. I got to get back into this sage and or whatever it's going to take. It's a weird process.
I don't want to get too deep, but you said become hurt again. I feel like that just means you're hurt. You're still hurt as fuck, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that hurt can't be cured unless you go through that process. And sometimes therapy is not it. I'm not the end all be all therapy person, but talking about it is at least the start, because you saying you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to be hurt again, to me says you're just hurt, which is okay. Yeah. And you can't support, whether it be family, employees, your own goals when you're kind of just wallowing in hurt.
You can't. But again,
no. Listen, I am a very hurt human being. I know I did
in the street.
I did it for quite some time of my life. The way like people talk about functioning alcoholics, like you could just walk out and be drunk and no one knew. I do that with depression and hurt all the time. Like I have ran businesses when I was in the lowest point of my entire life. My point here is saying it was not to the best value and degree of everyone around me until I tried to let go of some of that hurt.
I think I
became a better person for everybody once.
Yeah, and I can respect that. I respect that, but you got to respect what I'm saying. My upbringing and what the position I'm in, right? The way I feel about things, how I feel, like it's just what I've been able to overcome. I cannot see myself overcoming again. You know, it's like I don't know if I even have in me, because my situation has been so crazy, is that as I left the street, right, and built this multi-million-dollar company, I lost everybody because I now don't operate on that vibration. Right now, that means I lost a woman that really loved me. I lost homies to the federal prison. I just lost a homie 2 days ago. Literally, I'm still like, bro, connected to, like, I ain't far from the corner, you know? So it's like, yo, I'm extremely paranoid as to do not fumble this fucking ball, because you can't get back to this place. And to be honest with you, I probably could. If I really buckled, like, no matter what, I can probably get back to this place. But it's like, I know what I spent, bro. I know what it took, and I know, and don't get to my podcast and not talk about all of the shit, right? So I want to talk to you about everything, right? And not just bullshit, and it's not beating a dead horse. And I want to talk to you about this, what we was just talking about, is that you are I want your fans to know this. You really care what they think. 100%.
Of course.
I try to block my fans out.
I understand that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I even cut my comments off. Like, and it's like, I don't want you applauding me, or I don't want you telling me I'm shit. I just want to I want to tunnel vision this thing out.
Both are harmful. Both are very harmful.
Okay, let's talk.
Matter of fact, sometimes the praise is way
that's what I'm saying,
more fucking
and that's
harmful.
what I'm saying. Because, bro, just think about that. Like, and motherfuckers, I had a point in time where I was getting. And this is what made me cut my comments off, and I'm gonna get this game to the youngsters. It was a point in time I was getting 600-700 of fire. This is comments. Yep. And what that did to me when I was podcasting is made me chase that arena that those were coming in, and the rest of the podcast will suffer because I spend the podcast looking for those moments that I know will go on socials. And so it's dangerous. So I cut my comments off.
It makes you content. Like, I guess I put every like metaphor and comparison into music, and usually because I'm a Hove stan, I kind of base unfortunately his life off a lot of shit when I view business. I remember when we all said, Hove, at this point, you are probably the greatest rapper of all time. He gave us Magna Carta. And it's not a bad album per se, but we was like, bro, we don't really want to hear you just tell us how rich you are for the rest of your career.
Right.
And that sparked he got content. He was the GOAT. Like, he was the fucking GOAT.
So listening
and
to
then
his
after
fans
that,
did.
We put a fire in his ass as a fan base of like, yo, you need to go a little further in your life. Like, we don't want to hear your victory lap right now. And then we get 444
Which
couple years,
sets it on
5-6 years later.
Yeah. But I think
it's just too much praise just leaves you content.
Exactly.
And
I got no negative. Listen, on my socials, I go platinum every time. No negative comments, 4,000-5,000 shares, 12,000-15,000 likes. I mean, it's a surprise party. I mean, and that told, I said, damn, here I am. And my pod means so much to me. And I think that's why I can do my fans like that. That's why I can tell them no. Because they know, bro, really give it in that pod, man. And sometimes, like, I had to tell my fans that I care so much about the pod, because if I really wanted to, if I was feeding my ego, I would just keep doing that, because, boy, it's going. That shit is going. But I know and understand, I told Charlamagne this earlier, ego is stolen and confidence is built. Confidence is earned,
I know what
but ego is it's not real. And especially when you find yourself feeding it, it's a very dangerous thing. And that was that's what I was doing, man. I was saying, dude, get in the podcast. Now I'm already thinking how I'm gonna get into that little arena right there. What am I gonna do to get into that arena? It's like, no, bro, I need to tackle these topics, because I'm still building audience. Yeah. And like you said, it'll put you in that placeholder. It's like, I can only serve the people that enjoy this. Yep. And that doesn't work.
And even ego is so self-built. Like, it's such a perception, because I've watched especially people on the internet, loving to be the villain. Like, the villain makes them, that drives their ego.
Yes.
So they'll continue to just throw themselves out the window with extremely wild takes.
Yes.
Like, they just want to be hated so bad because that's what drives their ego. And then there's people that just want so much fucking love. And if you say one critique about them, their ego's like, ego is the most interesting human.
Where do you live at in that? Because like, even when we was talking, I'm like, yo, Rory, man, like a couple years ago, before I knew you, a couple people hit me and say, yo, Rory getting people checks at the BET, helping people get into the BET thing.
I mean, behind the scenes have helped a lot of your favorite podcasters that we've never said it out loud.
And then I'm saying, yo,
I've
what's
gotten
up
them with
that?
agencies. I've gotten them actual real deals. I've put money in more people's pockets, but I did that out of actual love, and I never...
But you are in sport. It's like LeBron said, yo, don't take my stats. Just, I'm out here balling today. Fuck the stats. Nobody count the points. But it's just for the game, baby.
Okay, but even that I guess maybe goes to my ego, because I think ego can be healthy if it's channeled correctly. Yes. My ego is actually boosted in that regard. Like, I laugh when the narrative on the internet that says I hate podcasting and I never wanted to podcast. Meanwhile, I have done more for podcasters than probably most people in the space at all. Charlamagne has done more.
Yeah, he the GOAT with that. He done gave assists. I've seen.
Of course. And that's why I really respect Charlamagne. I know we all have like the fun back and forth shit. I respect Charlamagne fully. I would put myself very close to second as who has moved a lot of shit for podcasters within the new era. You have Combat Jack, Chris Morrow. They are legends in what they did for everybody. But the plays I put together have, are up there. But that drives my ego rather than needing someone to say that out loud or tell that story. That's why I just laugh at Rory doesn't give a fuck about podcasting. No, I give so much a fuck that I have put every last one of your podcasters with UTA,
and
with
again,
WME,
I've
with
had those calls. I'm telling you, before I met you, a couple people hit me like, yo, you interested in the BET thing? Rory is helping dudes. I can probably get on the line. I'm like, nah, it's all good. And they're like, no, he got this person to check to get in there. He got that person to check to get in there. I'm like, yo, shout out to Rory moving and shaking on the back end. But here's where I find issue. I said, damn, I just push up on you with them. Like, yo, they said you was helping people, and you like, yo, I don't really like to say nothing. And I'm like, yo, but why? People take shots at you. People say certain things about you. Like, this is for the sport too, bro. Like, and how people view you affects business in the same way as stopping to have that conversation with that fan, right? Because also what could turn that fan off is not only you not being organic, but the idea that people turn the way that he views you. People can turn these fans against you.
Oh, I've watched it.
Right.
With absolutely false narratives.
So I'm telling you, like, not only do we have to worry about our availability for the people that listen to us and try to be organic, we also got to pay attention to how we're viewed in the market.
But I guess I do take the shit so seriously that I don't look at that section of it as sport. If I'm doing back and forth, I think it looked nastier.
Not back and forth.
If I replied
truth and lies.
Look at all the shit I've done. Look at my accolades. Like, to me, that's like when people do charity and post it on Instagram. It's like,
if you do it that corny,
that was never my intention to do it.
But I'm saying you can't do it that fucking corny and just say, yo, he's taking shots. Nigga, look at my accolades. It's like, no, you're actually wrong about me not liking podcasts. Actually, I'm the guy that put such and such on the line with such and such because I care that much.
Or put more money in podcasts' pockets again, that were once signed with somebody. Like,
here we go. And so that's the angle, not the angle of, yo, oh, he said my name, beat my chest. Dude, I'm the dude that make the most money. No, it's, yo, ho. You're trying to tell my people that I don't care about podding? Hold on. I'm the guy that I'm the guy. This is what they do to you. They can't wait to clear out and say, hold on, I'm the guy that did this and do that, because they understand the value in the viewing public.
But also, I know because I am self-aware, unfortunately. I think this is where most of my depression comes from,
yes.
Like self-awareness.
Yes.
I know people have played with me just on microphones, not in actual real life, because they know different. They wouldn't do it in that regard. They know I'm not going to reply. And I've replied in some ways, but people are allowed to get a lot of lies off because they know, they've seen how easy it is to get lies and narratives off, because I look at that shit so fucking corny that I'm like, I'm not even going to reply to that
even
lie.
If it
like, that's not
business?
even remotely close to the truth. Why am I going to entertain some shit that is so far from the fucking truth?
For the same reason you stop and talk to that fan. Again, because we're dealing with the perception of the people that care about me. Again, you're at the top of the mountain with a bullhorn, and you're screaming down to not only your people. Now, if we had it caged off where only your people were privy to that, get off.
Well, I guess I'll ask you, because I guess mainly with the pod world to some degree, I've admitted that there was personal feelings within that. To protect my own mental health, like, I'm about to get in the ring and do this shit and just have a back and forth of fucking who could lie on each other better.
Yeah, no.
Like that.
That's not.
And again, I know for a fact I am not innocent in this entire shit, period, within media. It doesn't have to be specifically with, I know, with Joe's podcast or anything, period. Even when Charlamagne, me, Schultz, everyone, we was all going back, I know for a fact I am not innocent. I've thrown shots. I've done things. At this point, I don't want to use the daughter shit, but that was also a big eye opener too. Like, all right, today we're going to decide to walk into the studio and start a back and forth microphone conversation from a camera and just yell at each other back and forth who can deliver lies more entertaining. Because these people don't care about the truth.
Right.
They care about the entertainment. And guess what? I will fully admit too, the liars are way better entertainers than me.
I don't agree with that.
I can't keep up with
with
how good you are at lying in your entertainment.
I don't agree with that.
You're too good at it.
Yes, and I agree with that. Motherfuckers are good at their entertainment.
And I'm not about to
But I believe that the truth, that the truth will outlast that. I believe the lie, The lie cannot stand next to the truth. Now, I believe that the noise may be louder, but I believe if you present the, because for you, it's back and forth. For me, it's good and evil. It's truth and lies. You see, it ain't back and forth. It's you're lying about me to the people that I know are potential customers. Because here's another thing in podcasting that I need the youngsters to understand. And I tell my audience this. My job has always been a few things. I put my podcast out. I identify my viewers. I take my viewers and then identify my customers. With my customers, I serve them at a higher level, right? And that's how I keep them customers. Every viewer is not a customer. We know that to be the case. So what I'm saying is, but every viewer could be a potential customer. So I'm saying if someone is affecting the way that my potential customers interact with my business, and it's lies, I just don't see myself saying, you know what, it's corny for me to clear that up. Because again, it's not back and forth, it's truth and lies. Every single time you put smut on my jacket, I got to let my people know it's not smut on my jacket until they start to come out and say, nah, we know it's no smut on this jacket and we know that trick. For you and you and Maul's situation, it seems like the other side has been able to kick up a lot of dust and no one's been able to really say, hey, I don't know about that. Like that maybe don't sound right. Even I didn't see traction, and I'm gonna let you talk. I didn't see traction even what you say the whole baby thing when you're like, yo, the timeline don't match up. It just died. It's like that was literally something that it just died.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I said,
but that what I was about to say, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
The next thing I was gonna say was, Loon, I got my feelings. And I'm someone that will admit I get in my feelings. I know everyone wants to be this fucking tough guy that they control. Nah, sometimes I get in my fucking feelings and I say shit. Things, It's not playing victim. I was just hurt at the fucking time about some specific shit. I told the truth for a little bit. On a big platform, got a lot of views. Didn't change the narrative.
Didn't change it at all.
So I regretted even telling the truth. And that's kind of my point on why it proved to myself in some degree that I've been right the entire time of not addressing shit. Because look what happens when I told the truth.
Let's talk about
that. Shit didn't matter. Like you can add up dates in a calendar. I didn't create how the fucking earth moves.
Right.
That was the biggest lie on earth.
Yeah. And
that should make you wonder about everything else. Like, but I left it alone and I regretted it after that happened. I felt good from a mental health perspective, getting that out of me.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But when the internet shit, I was like, oh, see what happens? Like you can tell the truth, and instead of listening to the facts, it's, yo, he's mad, hurt. Why he's still talking about that? I said, I'm not talking about it.
And you got to ignore that. You got to ignore that because those are his stands.
Of course.
They have people on each side. I have people. Trap Lord Ross has people. Like Trap Lord Ross people was upset at me when Trap Lord Ross.
Phenomenal episode, by the way.
Appreciate it. When he admitted on there, Loon, you're right, 100 fucking times. And his fans came under there and said, yo, man, you don't like him because he white. You just don't want him talking about black culture.
He legitimately said, you know what? I think I am obsessed.
So what more can we do?
And I guess that's kind of my point. When I want to tell the truth, because it's like, the truth does not matter in this. This is entertainment.
Now here's what I say to
entertainment.
That.
So they can be better at lies with entertainment. So maybe I don't want to hang in that world.
But you're in it, and you're making money.
No. See, that's what we need to address, because I've seen a lot of those comments after like the few things I have said, like, oh, you're not built for this podcast shit. No, y'all are trying to make podcasting one thing, and now you're devaluing the entire space. Matter of fact, the biggest podcast in the world is not this salacious bullshit that we do.
I don't do
not even remotely close as far as dollars and impact is with this salacious fucking back and forth internet thug bullshit y'all do. So no, I'm not built for this back and forth. Who can yell lies to their friends?
Is
better.
That what he's saying though? That's what
the fans are all. I'm saying more for the fan.
But when he said it in particular, you guys are not built for this. I believe truly that he's saying conversation. Like y'all just are not built to go back and forth, point for point. I think that's what the guy's saying. No, I don't. But I think because
I did it right. The points were made in this exact room we're sitting in now. What other points need to be? Points don't the history. You can't rewrite history.
And it didn't. Maul spoke to me for 2 hours. We had a phenomenal conversation.
Love that episode.
And it done great. Now here's what I would say about the truth, or that in particular, because again, I viewed that away. Like, how did that die like that? Why didn't that catch any steam? And I said to myself, as great as T-Rail and them is, because them my guys,
Love
AD,
T-Rail.
that whole squad over there, especially AD, right? That's who I really had the relationship with. Solid but
guy.
shout out to all of them, right? Because they hustling. As good as they is, that ain't this. Far as people come here for the information about this shit, like how to navigate podcasts, and not even just this. There's arenas to do it, and you don't have a boxing match in a UFC octagon, right? You address certain things in a certain manner, i.e. DJ Vlad. I'm sure he's trying to address Tyrese, but he has to find the arena to do it. He just can't I can't just pull up anywhere and do this. I need this to be in a space where it actually has the value I'm intending it to have. I think with AD and T-Rail and them, although they have great conversation, I think it's entertainment based. Yeah. It's not like a real talk, like a that type of vibration. And I think when you live in that spot, the reaction is a bit different.
Speaking of the AD and T-Rail thing, to even make this more full circle, I went there for a reason. They are an up-and-coming podcast, and I've done nothing but support up-and-coming podcasts. I knew when I went on this press run, I was going to be asked about shit I've been quiet about. I'm not dumb. I know no matter what, wherever I go, I'm going to be asked about certain individuals.
Yes.
I wanted to go and give those views to an up-and-coming pod that I really fucked with. I could have sat with fucking Charlamagne and Schultz and gave the fucking biggest Joe bashing.
You think? I don't think. Well, I was with Schultz yesterday. He not going. He is fucking not going.
He didn't go to Roots Picnic either.
No, Schultz. no. I'm saying I think he was on tour. They was talking about that.
No, I know. But I'm saying
with the Joe thing.
If I'm gonna talk about that, I'm gonna go to pods that I fuck with rather than, like, to me, I hate the term clout chasing, but it does describe in the best way what people do in that regard. I could have went to the biggest platform to go give my fucking response, and I was offered that from when we split up to the album to everything.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I went to go fuck with Bootleg Kev because I fuck with his podcast, and I knew we weren't going to get into Salacious shit. Right. I knew AD and T-Rail were about to get into the Salacious shit. I would rather give that to two dudes that I see building a platform that I fuck with and two good people and support this genre for real, rather than going to a way bigger publication where I know I'm going to get more views. I'm going to get more even looks to the album I'm trying to promote.
Right.
Like that was a very conscious decision.
Yeah.
So that's where my heart lays. If I have to do the messy shit, I want to do it with purpose.
But you end up hurt with it though, because you said like, damn, I got that off. And it's like, damn.
But you don't know about that hurt until you get it off. I didn't know yet. I knew it was good. I wasn't even walking into AD shit thinking I was even gonna react the way I reacted. I'll be honest. That came from anger. Again, I regret it a little bit.
It seemed like you wanted to get it off though. It seemed like
that's why it came out that way.
Yeah.
And in other platforms that I was, doing press run shit with, it didn't fester the way that it did when I got to AD spot. Maybe because AD has been through something similar. Maybe
exactly. Oh, that makes sense.
Like a lot of shit. Yeah. A lot of shit was just welcoming in that, but I wanted to have that conversation with them. And what I hated about that response from the internet. Did you listen to the full episode?
Yeah.
I gave nothing but trials and tribulations of me just navigating through the podcast world for them. Like, that was a great episode. Of course, it got condensed to the 15 minutes that was the Salacious shit. But I'm proud of that episode. That was a great conversation.
Yeah, I listened to
so much positivity was part of that just didn't get the same views.
And I think
that's why Salacious shit does.
But I think they're entertainment. I think they're like Cenat and them. They're more like entertainment. versus conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I think it is conversation, but there's an element of entertainment there. There's a lot of laughing. There's a lot of, when you come to Loon, everybody know, like when this Charlamagne episode drop, it's gonna break the internet. Shit he's never spoke about.
Yeah.
Ever spoke about, right? And so certain things, like I got B Marshall next, already recorded. That's coming out. Him and Fred Taylor about the I Am Athlete thing. Because again, it's important for us, if we really care about podcasting, for those who have been through things, to light the way.
Yeah.
And the only way to light the way is to tell these young boys what you've been through and how I've overcame it, as well as what I've learned from it. So when I sit down with B Marshall and Fred Taylor, I want you to understand the importance of my platform, because those two guys won't sit down with the same person, even if it's Breakfast Club.
That's a fact. Yeah.
They don't care who it is. If you sit down with one, the other one won't come.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm the only person, because they respect what I stand for in the market, right? And they both got on there and said, the only reason I'm doing this is because it's you, and because I know you information. It ain't just salacious. You want me to get on there and say, fuck, dude. You want me to talk about the money I lost.
Yeah.
How did I lose it? How was I tricked? What happened? You know what I'm saying? And that's the things, like I asked those guys the same questions to try to really get to, where did y'all fall off? What the fuck happened with this?
Yeah.
Two athlete guys had millions when you started. How did y'all fall? And so sometimes I think it's more based on arena than it is, I know whether you fuck with them is cool, but sometimes, man, I gotta be behind the arc for the 3 to count.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care. In my mind, I that's a 3. Nah. You got to be in position for that 3 to count.
I mean, even your episode with Maul, like what I appreciated the most out of that was, of course, I know Maul's story. It's my story too. I was there for everything. Having someone that's respectable and objective was the best way to go about that.
Exactly.
Because even, you know, we know how these publications do. Like, they'll hit us up and be like, "No, we on your side,
right?
So let's do like."
Yes.
I don't want someone to come in here, pause, and like suck
it's
my
really
dick. And like, no,
yeah,
like, be objective. Like, where do you see?
Hold on, what are you saying? How did that make
like,
sense?
I don't want this to be some bashing session. Like, tell me how right I am.
That's what
and
I'm
that's
saying.
what I fucking hate with this. And that's what I loved about the episode with you and Maul.
Right.
I watched it like, yeah, all right, bet. I love that. That's his point of view, without any details, just looking at it, how we look, how everything looks.
Right.
That's so important right now.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what even I tell Charlamagne, and that's why he was able to open up with me, is that even I had to tell him, he's big dog. He's big man in the space, bro. And I had to tell him, look, you have a obligation to over communicate. We all do, bro. Once we get information, we can't touch everybody.
Yeah.
The only thing they have is these conversations, because and as Charlamagne said, how you know that, Loon? Because that's all I had. When I was on the outside, all I had was when they broke down that deal. What can I get from just that conversation? Anything to light the way for me to go into this meeting to even know that word exists. Right? That's all these people have. And so our selfishness sometimes keeps us in a place where it's like, yo, I don't want to talk about it. And for y'all in particular, I think it's more so y'all think the audience is tired of it, or y'all think that there's a section of people that's saying, yo, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. What I believe that to be is people who are now being convinced of what they didn't believe at first, and they're telling you to shut up. It's like somebody saying, yo, man, let me talk to you. I think I seen your girl down at STK with a, stop that.
Yeah.
Stop that. You know, and then he tell you a little more detail. She still got that red car.
And that, now you adding shit up.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I don't want to hear about, I don't want to hear anything else about that, because you put it too close to what could be. I could be wrong about what I believe.
That's
right?
a talent, though.
Very good
to
talent.
Stretch.
Yes.
And did you read the 48 Laws of Power book?
Yes.
I've read
it. Been a while, but yeah.
I've read it 3 times, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to be a good person. It made me feel weird.
Okay.
It's a very, like, extremely manipulative book.
Yes.
And I think because I'm
high level manipulation. I
think because I'm such an extreme person, and I don't know if that comes from parents that are addicts, but like everything about me is extreme sometimes if I go there.
Right.
I said, if I really take this book, I'm not gonna be a good person.
For sure.
Like I know my level of intelligence.
Yes.
I actually even know my level of being manipulative to some degree.
Yes.
I read it 3 times trying to make myself feel better about adopting some of that, and for my own shit. I don't want to sound like I'm a good person. I'm not above anyone.
I had no choice but to adapt some of it. I had to adopt some of it.
You were in a much different situation where that is for safety rather than it is for business when it comes to me.
But that book, like you said, if you are objective and you're not trying to feed your ego with that book, because again, a lot of people run to these things to really arm themselves to get over on their people.
I've adapted my whole life, and if I had went full adapted on that, I know it'd be great financially.
Right.
I'd be the nastiest human being ever, because I know I could master that.
Yeah,
like, I could master that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I read it when I was older. If
with
I
the
was
sense.
Fucking 21 when
and
I read that shit.
apple, yeah, that shit gets weary, bro. That shit gets crazy. But you know, salute to AD and T-Real. I think, like I said, they're moving out there. Them and No Jumper, that was a strange situation. Actually, Adam hit me. He want me to come back out there. See, that's the thing. The game respects me, man. When I go and I'm critical of Adam, I'm critical of people.
Should be.
Because again, I'm objective, but everyone knows. Hold on, listen to what he's saying though. He's not. See, I'm not one of those guys when I say I'm critical of you, where I'm just on the mic saying, "Yo, fuck that dude."
There's an explanation.
Yeah, it's like, yo, no. I think he made a bad move because I see the market adapting to this, and that's why I think, you know, it's like, and if you take that away, handle it like you took it away when you see me. I don't want no press conference with podcasters. I don't want to do no bunch of talking. Yeah. If there's anything that they took away, and this is a PSA to anyone, don't tell me. When you see me, handle it like it's a problem, because I have an obligation to over communicate. It's my obligation. Like I just was talking to my homie Dollar, shout out Dollar. I'm telling him, like, when I posted Boosie being arrested, and I posted like, yo, I do this shit literally just to show dudes you don't gotta go ball player, you don't gotta go rapper, you don't gotta go club promoter, you can go podcast. I got real street niggas hitting my thing saying, Loon, I'm gonna have to hit you for something, like I'm trying to go that route. And so what I mean is, before I leave them niggas out on the island, I beef with these industry niggas.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm more concerned about them people because I was out there. I just got lucky enough to be from the streets and a boss in the street where I know how to maneuver. So I come straight out the street in the podcast and then boom, bam, bam, boom, boom. And when he got some deals and shit is moving. Most people don't have that know-how, you know? And so I think we have an obligation to speak, man.
What would be your opinion if Vlad had reached out to do?
For me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because after I watched your episode that I love with Trap, what's
Trap Lord Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am curious what your Vlad. I don't think you going on Vlad would make sense. Vlad coming on your show would make the most sense to have an actual conversation.
Yeah, and I think those guys, I think, are spooked to me a little.
Because I think he would just ask you a bunch of fucking, like, tell me when you sold drugs or some shit. Like,
tell me about I'm too swift.
And I don't think he would do that. That's why I asked. I think it's valuable to have someone like Vlad on your platform after I watched that last episode. Because I was one of those people early that was like, we shouldn't platform people that we think are taking advantage of shit. I've softened up on that if we can have real conversations to let people know. The same way you got old boy to say, oh yeah, maybe I am obsessed with Vaughn.
Right. And but this is what I need. But even my fans to know. You think he'd
have a conversation with you?
Vlad?
Yeah.
I'm sure he will. Like I don't know. Now of course here's the thing about all of these industry guys. Now it makes sense to have a conversation with me. Damn it, he's established. Prior to that, it's like duck him. Everybody don't act like you don't see him. Act like nobody act like he ain't right there. Just
till you can't avoid him, and now it's part of the.
Now he's part of the. So let's not. But the thing with these guys, I know they know based on my conversation, I'm equipped with a certain level of information. It's a bit spooky getting in that ring with that guy, right? And that's what I try to tell my fans is that the value of my show is so different. It's because it's that. It's like, bro, we can get into the weeds and be well okay. You know, and a lot of these pods can't go layers in. And when you get someone like Vlad who's been operating with all of that history, and it's like sitting with me may be like, I don't know what angle this young man is gonna go. Cause I've smashed Adam came and sat down. Yep. He left and said, like, I kind of put him in a situation, yo, and then the AD shit happened because I telling him, yo, why you don't want them guys to have a YouTube, right? And so I'm saying, I just think that, I don't know if Vlad will do it. I don't know, but I will have a conversation with him on my platform in regards to some of the things that I've seen him do and his outlook on things, because I'm very curious as to where he really sits.
And I think that's what your platform is so important with even people like Vlad, because now you've kind of forced some of those YouTubers, if you want to explain yourself, talk to you.
Yes. And you better be prepared.
But there's also value on the other side. Let's say Vlad has a compelling argument. We wouldn't know unless he talked.
Yeah.
If I sat with Vlad and had that conversation, there's not a lot of value to him even, I don't want to say winning the debate,
right,
but even giving his points.
Right.
When he sits with someone like you now,
yes,
it gives value to him if he can
but he can
tell that argument in the best way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to, but at least there's now a platform where that it's what I think Dame, and I don't want to tell people what they should have done because Dame is a fucking legend who I respect like you would not believe. But Dame having a Culture Vulture platform where Culture Vultures have to explain themselves could have been very fucking valuable.
That's good IP.
But Dame, which I respect him so much, that would say I'm not gonna even put a Culture Vulture on a platform like that.
Right.
I've softened up on that. I think these conversations
especially
need to happen.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get
one of those guys that like me that can get in there and dance with them guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it would even give some value to people that maybe have been labeled Culture Vultures that maybe aren't. Right.
Gives them opportunity to really
put that out.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't really know Vlad's background. I've admittedly been a critic of him, but Vlad could come up here the same way you asked me, why don't you talk your shit about what you do behind the scenes?
Yeah.
I mean, Vlad actually always tells his fucking accolades, but there's people that maybe are viewed a certain way, and once they sit up on this platform, can actually have that conversation.
Yes.
And that's where I love that last episode with the Trap Kid.
Yes.
Because he's an amazing YouTuber. That kid does a bunch of research.
I've told him that
he's
too. He's
fucking amazing at that.
Yes.
But you better relax with a 3-hour fucking
Exactly. Because that's what I had to tell him. Yeah, I'm like, yo, hey, you know what you're doing, bro? Like, you fanned out. And that's this is also what's happened in this space is fans have infiltrated hip hop. Mm-hmm. Right, and they now have a voice. They now have some of the most powerful players in hip hop, and they're having no consideration for the trail of people that's behind them.
Yep.
Right, you're not a fan anymore, bro. You're an outlet. Mm-hmm. Right. Even when I deal with Act, he's not gonna be happy about idiots because I went on a rampage. Like we had the conversation, me, him, Schultz. It was like a real. And I'm telling them, yo, Act has no value.
It's gonna be funny coming from me. I think there's some value.
I know you do, but I don't. Tell me what value you see in Act.
Channeled in the right way.
I'm saying right now, not tweaked. I think he's pulled.
He represents a large community that has kept hip hop financially stable. He represents that. A lot of album sales, streams.
How? And tell me how that translate to business. I'm saying, what value has he gave to the market? That's what I kept trying to get people to understand.
I'm speaking specifically to
placement.
The group he represents.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
That group, whether they be annoying as fuck, are a huge reason on why hip hop even made it to the #1 genre on
But
earth.
he's a placeholder for that spot.
He's a representation of it.
Anyone reporting that kind of bullshit in that spot, in my opinion, first to do it would be in that position. I don't see value in the conversation.
I hate that I'm about to fucking defend him. He's not the start of promoting bullshit.
Of course not. But technology met him.
He did not reinvent the wheel.
Technology met him in a place, though.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying.
And a community at the same time, but...
No, the tech is where the community was. He did nothing but be there available at the time of school. That's the only thing he was... I was just there when this thing turned into what it is. It was, and I was talking that bullshit. So because I'm first, I'm grandfathered in. There's no value in the conversation. There's absolutely no replay value in any content he has. No replay value, no catalog being made on anything he has. The live streaming, when you get down in the weeds, I'm not even sure if they own that, right? I just don't, business-wise, because I'm speaking business. I'm not just speaking value in regards to, people will sit up and look at it. And I'll give him credit. He's made money off what I deem to be nothing, like just noise. He's made money off noise. When I've made money off content and catalog, Schultz made money off comedy and catalog. You guys have made money off content and catalog, right? I don't see that when I look at it.
It's a different business, though. It's the same way.
Not when he's occupying.
All right, do you have TV shows that you rewatch, like series that just have replay value that you'll just go back and rewatch? Right. On HBO Max, you fucking watch everything, right?
Yes.
That would be like comparing HBO Max to the news. The news is very much in the moment, and it's continuing like that.
That's what everybody keeps saying. I keep
and also,
trying to get
he's
you
a
guys
representation of. This is gonna sound way too deep, but America. Look at the news now. Everything is salacious.
Everything Schultz was talking about yesterday.
He's the representation of that. Which is he the problem, or is this entire fucking country the problem?
No, listen. Whatever's happening, I don't even care. What I say is that is not value to this market. That's not in podcasting or in stream. Where is the value in just, I'm the first to tell you guys what we're doing. I don't see how that translates into him being able to go warrant a Spotify bag with no background in podcasting. He's pulling hat tricks, in my opinion.
Again, that's speaking to just the podcast business, which is a deeper conversation.
And his negotiation, those people that are negotiating for him, maybe they're able to wiggle, he's big. We're guaranteed he's going to be big. And it's like, I don't think it translates because I don't know if it's really a real thing. It's just noise. The way that Joe and you guys were able to go behind to Patreon and people actually move, go to Spotify, people actually move.
But Spotify saw that when they started their Spotify podcast program, when they got Amy Schumer, then I think they got Michelle Obama after that, and both fucking tanked because sometimes numbers and popularity don't translate in this world.
Yes. So, and that's what I mean. And where is the real value in the market? It's in podding. It's in content of some sort. Live streaming. Codnim is doing something different. That has catalog and replay value. That's a different thing. Even with him and Speed and Tiana Trump, that's a different thing, bro. Yeah. That's a show. Even when he's down there and he's hiring people to come in, it's like that. To me, that's what Queen's Flip was trying to do with that improper shit. It's like a version of what Kai was doing, right? Yeah, bringing people in every week and having them, hey, let's eat this bullshit bug or let's set this on fire. It's like what Codnim is doing in live streaming. So let me be clear. There is value in live streaming because people may try to take my argument. The internet's a weird place and try to say, well, Loon's saying there's no value in live streaming.
I don't think that's what you're saying.
Exactly. but that's how the internet works. So I have to clarify. I'm saying that there is true value in live streaming. Academics hasn't tapped into it. I don't see what he is doing. Now, making money and having value is different. I'm not saying he's not making money. I'm saying longevity value in the market. I cannot identify it. And that's just me.
Well, I mean, the live streaming conversation in general is tough with longevity because at some point, Kai is going to get older.
But what does that turn to? What does it turn into?
Live streaming is great when you're young. Like I can even speak to now when we started the pod, I was 24. I want to say I'm 33 now.
Right.
I was 25. Yeah. Your life changes a lot. Whereas at least I was even allowed to record something and plan it, and the next day we could put it out.
Right.
That live streaming shit, the older you get, can get.
And that's what shows.
It's a tough world. It's so valuable right now. To your point, longevity. I'm scared to see when Kai like really gets older. And I think that's a really intelligent young man.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to pivot because he understands that's like we could tell that kid is not stupid at all. That's a smart young man.
And we're going to talk about Kai because I want to talk about that space, rumble, kick, all of that really quick.
But
continue.
It's going to have to shift. Like that's even why, and everyone relax, I'm not shitting on academics. I think even with Kai coming in the new live stream shit, Ak is getting a bit older as well and is pivoting. That's why I think he did the podcast, which I thought was smart. Because
how do you feel about it?
Because Kai is a young human being right now. Like he can do the live stream shit every night. That shit gets tough when you're fucking in your 30s.
Yeah, and it gets weird when you're in your 30s sitting in front of the fucking computer all day.
And I don't judge. I mean,
you don't judge because you don't want to smoke.
But I don't judge people that do that.
No,
I think it's fine.
With Ak in particular, you want to stay away from the internet because he goes overboard with you guys. He does put his foot on the fucking gas. Like, and you guys found all of that entertaining. Traplo Ross found it entertaining. Like he likes Ak a lot. Yeah, and when I was talking to him about it, he also said the news thing. Everybody gives him the news thing. I give him the news thing. But I'm saying they've tricked you guys into thinking that's something. That's nothing. That's no value in the real market. Leverage that news shit to I don't know what you're doing. What's that?
Well, Lou, I guess it's trying to figure out the audience because
that's what Charlamagne said. Charlamagne said he's got a name off of it. But again, that means nothing.
The audience, all right, even before Ak Trap, that whole YouTube community, I remember watching YouTube with reaction videos. And I was like, this is the weirdest fucking thing. Why would someone tune in to watch someone react to it?
That's weird. Yeah. But it's still big.
But that was me being ignorant at the time to the space because that has kind of become the entire YouTube space at this point is the reaction to what's going on.
Yes.
So that was me being ignorant. Like I can admit that. I thought it was weird
but
as
it was
fuck.
a tweak on it. They were reacting to videos and shit. It's like, that's a little bit, but they've tweaked it now. It seems like they're reacting to real life shit or paperwork and different things like that.
Which again, to me, is still weird, but you have to understand the audience that they look to a specific personality on YouTube to react to the news that's happening already. Because we all got a voice. All of us. We have Twitter. We all have an opinion. Now we can look to a specific person on YouTube to see what they feel about the situation that we're all talking about.
And I don't think, even with that, like,
I think it's fucking weird. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be willfully ignorant in knowing that is what the space is right now. Like I can maneuver through.
That's what I'm saying. That shit don't warrant no money.
It does in a longer play. I feel
Y'all have allowed Ak to use that bullshit noise against real business and say I'm bigger than y'all because he's been able to get money. Again, I'm saying value and money is different.
Well, this ties back to our older conversation when you were saying the fans don't know how much you do behind the scenes for podcasters. Everyone in business knows what I do for podcasters. So when I bring somebody to a specific company, an agency, anything, they know I'm batting 1,000. I come with something that's real, that's going to work. So my reputation there is valued. And if everyone thinks otherwise in the entertainment world, it doesn't change my value because if you look at the stats, I'm here.
Right. But
so that's also the same way with you and I can disagree in thinking it's weird as fuck that these people are doing these reaction videos and there's no actual value to it. There is in the long run. That's just a quick
I'm not
part.
saying that. Let's not
to build
say
a personality.
I'm not saying the reaction videos. The reaction videos is a thing. Podcasting in some form is reacting to videos, right?
Yeah.
People oftentimes pull up something and and then talk about it. So that's a form of the reaction thing. That's not what I'm saying.
And I'm saying that there is value to it. to some degree.
To reaction video.
It's building up a
To what?
personality to eventually maybe get that person a podcast.
This is what I didn't like what they were saying. Yo, build Ack up to, he's big already. So if he hasn't pivoted off of that shit and actually created value off of it, that's as high as he gonna be able to go with that.
And as much as I would love to agree with you and say that he maybe did ruin some of the monetary value, especially within Spotify. We were at Spotify when they gave it to Amy Schumer and Michelle Obama, who had the biggest platforms ever, and they failed miserably and devalued what we were doing at the time as well. We should have got what Amy Schumer, Michelle Obama, we got all combined.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
But that was then and this is now. So I totally understand where a Spotify would go, well, let's give it to the person that moves the most numbers at the current time.
I believe his deal to be over. I believe that deal to be over. At that time, it made sense that they were already over betting. They were already in the weeds. They were already all in. We're in on pod. So that doesn't speak to anything for me. That was a hat trick. He hadn't proven anything in podcasting. And I hope Ack looks at this and understands that these are true, valid points that I'm trying to make. And if he has any commentary to the contrary, place it there. Because I'm telling you, when Spotify done that, he had no background in podcasting.
Well, you want to have a real conversation. When this is a full circle moment again. It's all entertainment. The reply to this. See,
I'm not dealing with
the reply to this is not going to be.
He's not going to come at me like that. And if he do, it's a mistake. And he may make the mistake.
But don't say that, because none of that should happen.
Yeah, it's
period.
I'm saying,
let people on the internet say what they want to say.
Right. No, what I'm telling you.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway,
come on.
Yeah, like this thing
please.
what I'm really speaking to is number one also, and me and Charlamagne got into the weeds about this. YouTube isn't a safe place to build to build your business.
They devalue the content
at all times and at any time. They can just make a decision that we're not messing with dudes that even talk about rap no more, and all your shit gets demonetized. Mm-hmm. They can make a decision and say, if shit is in anything, it's done for. Now that creates a job. Not only does it demonetize you, it now places you the way you have to spin to fix it. Mm-hmm. And that's because you've built it all on YouTube. I've come from the streets. I won't forecast on something that doesn't allow me to forecast. Yes. This YouTube shit I can't forecast because I don't know what's happening with it. Yeah. So when they compare these guys who have nothing but a lot of YouTube videos that has no value anywhere else, because if it did, they would leverage it, i.e. Andrew Schultz. Turn your phone this way. He took that shit from Instagram to Netflix because clear value was there.
And shout out to Alex who was editing that.
Yes.
That was genius during the pandemic. The way I view YouTube, and I mean, I'm sure under the comments now they'll say how ignorant I am, but I've studied this space for so long. To me, YouTube is the best promotional tool that can maybe cover your production nut.
Yes.
It can cover the money you get for it can help just your production.
Yes.
You may break even, but it's the best promotional tool on earth because the community is right there.
100%.
So yeah, YouTube is fucking all of us. And they're going to keep this on here and not devalue it because they're the biggest gangsters on earth.
Yes.
We can say, you fucking us, but we still gonna be here.
Right. Because we can't go anywhere.
We can't go anywhere. You have the community.
Yeah.
But it is valuable with the community, and it can give you at least enough money to cover your production overhead for the month. So there is a lot. You can then take that footage, put it on Instagram. Like, it does help. It's just never gonna be the end all be all because they have the shit monopolized. Like, it's fucking they have taken visuals and monopolized that completely.
They are killing.
We watch Spotify. Even if you look in the DSPs, Apple is Apple. The fact that Spotify is the biggest DSP when it comes to music is insane when you're dealing with Apple being the next competitor. So to put that in perspective, when it came to podcasting and they wanted to put the video element in there, that shit damn near, I don't want to say ruin Joe Rogan because you can't ruin Joe Rogan. He's one of the biggest podcasters ever. His value has dropped like you would not believe because he could only put clips on YouTube. His clips have more value than his Spotify visuals. That's what's so crazy about YouTube.
Do you think that? He's doing 11 million an episode. He's doing 50 million a week.
To make it exclusive on Spotify for video, which I understand why Spotify.
He's doing 50 million on that a week. Is what the numbers I'm getting when I talk to people who's in his camp.
From Spotify?
Yes. Just there, he's doing 11 million every time he press upload. It's 11 million. That's the low number.
On his video or the Joe Rogan clips?
See, no, we talking Spotify. So when you, of course, when you go on Spotify and play it plays audio and video. There's no, it just doesn't play video if the phone is closed or something. So that one click operates as
both.
Yes,
I'm aware.
Yes.
But when they were bringing that feature into it was actually when we were at Spotify and coming to the end of that deal. That was a big issue for everybody. Like, YouTube is where that community is. You're not going to get everyone. But they're not going to
pay you.
And that's why they even switched it from where it's audio and video at the same time. Because at one point, they just wanted to make it just a video thing and just an audio thing because they're a music-based company. And
it costs money to get that video portion of it on a big platform like that and just say upload 100 and whatever episodes you have. Like, that's a lot of cloud storage. There's a lot of tech involved in that.
All right, how do I word this correctly with the tech side? When was the last Joe Rogan moment you know of?
I watch all the time. So
when was the last moment?
Viral moment.
When was the last moment?
A lot of that COVID
Dave
shit.
Chappelle was on that shit, and most people didn't know.
No, that's not true.
And I'm saying
that's
that
not true. Listen,
that
that's
him
not true.
leaving YouTube
Are you listening?
was a huge devalue of how he's seen.
Debate popping. Debate popping.
Join,
no.
I'll take some more wine.
Debate popping.
I'm not talking about his numbers because you can fluff every number on earth, and I'm not shitting on Joe Rogan by any means.
You mean impact? It's hot in here. You got a fan? Or something?
Yeah, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
You don't feel like the impact of Joe Rogan outside of the biggest niche following of all time.
Since he's been over there, let me give you a couple of names. Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, who else? The biggest names.
Matter of fact, the
world.
last viral moment I can think of Joe Rogan was when Elon Musk was smoking a cigar. I watched Joe Rogan.
See, that's what we're wrong.
No, you're talking about two people. We watch Joe Rogan.
Yes.
We fuck with Joe Rogan.
Yes.
I'm talking about the masses.
No.
You used to get,
but this is where you're wrong, because if you're saying viral is the issue, they're not there. He's bigger than the viral game. He's no longer playing that. His regular numbers is above what viral is.
Of course.
So that speaks to impact, right? So if you are judging his impact based on viral clips, and then I'm saying every time he drops, it gets more than any viral clip that's out there, then that means his impact is still intact.
What do you think built outside of the core fan base? Because we all have our core fan bases. But what gets us to the next level sometimes is those impactful moments where you have to go wide. You have to go to the community. You have to go put your content
He's bigger
in
than
place. That. I know, but that's what built Joe Rogan.
Right.
And that's why he was, outside of his numbers, was able to get fucking $300 million from Spotify. That impactful shit, once that deal is done, I don't know what that's going to look like when it comes down to just downloads.
And then had he would have stayed on YouTube.
Because the impact is not driving new people. Because that at any business.
Yes, it is. He got 2 million. If you listen to Rogan, see, that's what I'm saying.
No, he is the biggest core fan base on earth.
I studied this fucking
fine.
game inside out. Rogan had the that time when they colored his face when the COVID shit was happening, and they said he's taking horse dewormer on CNN and all of that. He got 3 million new subscribers just in that week. 3 million new subscribers to an exclusive deal behind a wall, not a paywall, but there is some obstacle to get there. You got to download, sign in, this, that. He got 3 million. It may have been 2 million. 2 million in a week. So he still is driving people there. Also, again, if we are going to judge podcasting on viralness.
That's not what I'm saying, though.
Okay, so what do you judge it impact on?
Impactful moments. We're not a guest-based podcast, but I am well aware that when we have a guest on, that there may be an impactful moment and an opportunity to get a new fan base. That's how you slowly build shit up. We're not guest-based, but that is an important portion of our podcast.
But you know, once you get
now,
so
Rogan
big,
used to have impact. I'm not saying, because viral is sullying that word. I'm talking about impactful. Sometimes some shit is viral and not impactful, but rarely is something impactful and not viral. Does that make sense? You can have viral shit that's not impactful at all. You have the Island Boys are viral. Nothing about them is impactful.
Right. That's why I said we're not talking about
Rogan
viral.
always had impactful moments that went viral. And all of that disappeared. And I think the landscape
First of all,
is going to change a bit with his value at Spotify, not in the world. Joe Rogan is going to be 100 millionaire every other day.
You're so wrong with this. I think he has Spotify by the nuts. Bro, he's reading every ad. They're literally running their whole division off of this guy. He's reading every ad. This dude is not hurting for any kind of leverage over there. I believe, again, when I say he's 11 million.
I'm not articulating myself the best way in this regard then. Yes, Joe Rogan has the most leverage on earth at
I don't
Spotify.
understand.
They fucked up so much of their podcast division in the learning process, us included in it, that they went and gave Rogan the whole bag because he had he had all the data to prove that. Now, I don't know what that looks like if Spotify even wants to keep their podcast division going the same way. Like I feel like
they'll crash everything out and keep him.
Exactly, and I just don't think they're going to give Rogan the same amount of money they did. What was it, a 5-year deal?
They're going to double that up.
Nah.
He's 11 million a week.
Nah.
No one's even close.
Because the funding,
call her daddy warrants 60 million. A year ago?
The funding that they put into it already, I don't think they're getting back what they thought they were going to get
on Rogan.
Podcasting in general.
See, that's what I'm telling you. They're gonna make a
everything
decision.
Everything is a scope.
Yes,
Rogan,
but
even though Rogan is
you will carve Rogan out. You will carve Rogan out when you make decisions about podcasting at Spotify.
And I'm
any
saying,
conversation about podcasting in Spotify building, you will carve Rogan out and have a different conversation.
Let's say they gave Rogan $300 million for their podcast division, but within the whole podcast division scope, they spent $800 million. You think they are going to continue to do that when Rogan may be the only profitable one?
I think they
you think they're going to give Rogan, what's 8 plus 3? They're going to give him $1 billion? No. They're going to cut the whole fucking thing down.
No.
They're going to cut everything down, including Rogan.
No.
Yes.
No. And
they're going to cut the whole division down.
No.
Spotify just laid off 200 employees.
Yes.
They're going to cut the whole division down.
Cut. They will not touch Rogan.
Most of them were from this podcast.
Okay.
They will not touch Rogan and nothing that has to do with Rogan.
He's not going to make $1 more than on the next one.
What? When he is...
The whole podcast division will be another $300 million.
Are you listening to what I'm saying? $50 million a week? Are you hearing that? Google this if you think...
I'm aware. No, I'm well aware.
11 million every time I press upload. Do you understand what that warrants in this space?
Do you understand that the download theory of podcasting is changing already?
Of course, I just switched deals. Yeah, so I know when I had to negotiate.
Downloads don't mean a motherfucking thing right now.
Yeah, but
which is fucked up for us.
Yes, but
that's why I say Rogan's going to be devalued because Spotify, the same way Spotify
Rogan is the market, bro.
The same way Spotify will devalue a stream on a song. Now that we are not in the download version of podcasting anymore, because that's how we used to prove our money, our CPM, everything is gone. We are going to base our fucking CPM shit off a stream the same way music used to be, and music right now gets 0.000001 on a fucking stream. They are going to devalue us.
No,
that's why I'm saying Rogan. Downloads don't mean a fucking thing to advertisers anymore.
Listen, music isn't up against ads. Pods are up against ads. That's the difference. So they have this 11 million hit thing up against 60 ads, or up against Rogan or read 5-6 ads at a time, right? So they got him with his huge audience attaching these brands, and this is how I know they're really invested. Everything is host read. So that's telling me to sell the ad, they're going in there and saying Rogan is on board. He's the big guy. And they will cut the podcast division, the podcast editors, the podcast everything, but they're going to leave Big Rogan alone. I don't see them devaluing Rogan. I don't know how in the hell you got to that. Now, I see what you're saying in regards to the blurriness of the worth of a stream, listen, download, what all of that means. But when I tell you that they just gave someone 60 million who's not even in the stratosphere of this guy. And if they were going to make
Shorty
that
deserved
kind
that,
of,
though.
yeah, but she's not in his stratosphere.
No, of course not. That's why he got 3.
She's not 40, but what they're reporting for her is 60 and reporting 100 for him. So what I'm saying is that for her to get 60 and not be close to him in regards to numbers, right? Now she's great too. She's high up there, but he dominates every genre. And for him to be there, I think Spotify being that big of a company going to make that decision after Rogan's deal, they would have already implemented those changes and they wouldn't have gave her 60 million for something that doesn't warrant as many listens as what he has.
And again, I think we're kind of saying the same thing when I say I don't think Rogan's going to get $1 more on the next deal.
How much you think he got?
That's probably close to accurate.
100 or 300?
I think it was 100 for 3 years, right? So 300 million.
Right. So if he gets, so you don't think he gonna get 300 million?
I don't know if Rogan wants to even sign back with Spotify.
I do.
That's another.
This is why, because he spoke to YouTube again. This is why I try to tell these youngsters, don't let these content niggas trick you with this YouTube talk. Because even Rogan said, you know what, YouTube fucked me for a while. But guess what? When they heard I had that Spotify deal coming, oh, they clicked on every video to green. I had all kind of shit on yellow, not monetized. They heard Spotify was coming and I had 90 days. Yeah. Hey, green everything. Because they knew, let's get this ad revenue,
of course,
while he's here.
Yeah.
Right? So Rogan even identified that YouTube isn't a safe place. And he had relationship with YouTube. He said, I can pick up the phone and call them. Right? I had relationship with him and I still was yellow. But when they knew that deal was coming, they cut everything on.
One of
that speaks to
my stakes was trying to place where the ads would go in my own YouTube videos. And I had a conversation with somebody at YouTube and they said, no, you have to let us do it or we're going to demonetize a lot of you. If you don't put the auto ad shit on, because I used to try to do how we would do our conversations.
Yeah,
I was trying to place it
1545 and shit like that. Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you're going to cut your money in half if you do it yourself.
What?
We have to do it.
I didn't know that. That's good game. And see, that's why these conversations are important. Now, I do think that Rogan lost a lot of value in this perspective because, again, it's an undeveloped market. So when you deal with podcasts, and I'm saying what built a lot of podcasts or what favored Rogan, I won't say built them because I think his content and conversation lit the way for him. But what I think helped him a lot was the fact that the algorithm on these sites, right, in regards to audio, when it says no matter what you listen to, up next was Rogan.
Yeah.
Podcast you may like was Rogan. They took him out of that. Now, that's a marketing budget that people can't even pay for. To get next up on every single podcast is being paid. Now, that's where I think he loses the discovery mode, right? But I still believe him to have immense value in the market landing over there on Spotify, and I do not see them. They will get rid of fucking that whole. They not touching Rogan. If he's the last one,
cutting down the entire podcast department the way they did, I just see
they overinvested.
Of course they did.
Yeah, so Rogan ain't the problem.
They got fucking Michelle Obama and didn't get a return.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So now Rogan's cleaning all of that up. So next time it's gonna say, "Hey man, now we can finally make some money with you," because basically you just cleaned up all of the bullshit money that we've threw away. You know, with all of these bullshitters, or not bullshitters, respectfully, with all of this lost money in the market.
But I mean, how much of that do you think sticks? Like, are all Rogan fans only going to be Spotify subscribers premium? Not even the ones that do the ad shit? Because even with Rogan, if you pay premium for Spotify, you don't get him even talking about ads.
I don't think so, yeah.
If Rogan's looking at that and you're shifting your entire business where you were going to bank your entire existence on podcasts and that's changed, do I need to stay here?
And that's the thing.
Because
he may get a better
shit,
offer. Let's get the rumble and kick and we'll get out of here. But with Rogan, he may get a better offer somewhere else because he was already getting Daily Wire. Certain people was already trying to match that offer, give him more. If when COVID happened and Spotify act like they might get off the boat, it was companies stepping up. Hey, Rogan, they get off. Come on, we got 100. We'll give you 150. Matter of fact, if you want to leave them for even threatening to play with you like that, we got 100 over here for you. And so he warrants that in the market, right? I want to talk about this and then we'll get out of here. Cenat and a bunch of these streamer guys, they're having a beef because of this Rumble, this Kick, this Twitch situation. What's your take on it? Do you know a lot about what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, the Twitch thing is very interesting because Twitch was kind of like almost like the early blog era shit. Like it was the Wild Wild West where they would allow you to do everything. That's why like I love Twitch so much. And they kind of took away the value of what their platform was by doing what they did to Kai and everything that's happening now. So I don't fully understand what their business plan could be. Of course, they probably know something I don't. But they took away the fun.
Kind of seemed like they crashing it out.
They took away what their value was, which was that Wild Wild West shit, which doesn't exist on the internet now because like everything is copyrighted and everything has a lawyer behind it and you can't do shit.
Yeah.
They were the last, I felt like the last platform period where you could actually exist in the way we used to exist on the internet, where anything goes.
Right.
They took that away. I don't get it. For what?
Yeah.
That's a terrible business plan. Like now you're fucked at this point.
Yeah.
And now
I don't know what they're doing.
The Rumble shit, I don't want to speak too much to because I saw it's a right-wing platform, all that other shit. But I do believe in free speech, and I think there should be platforms that allow.
There should be space for free speech,
as long as it's not like violent, hateful speech.
Yeah, it's a difference between free speech and hateful speech. Yeah, and that's the conversation. But I
guess my question would be: is Rumble the new Twitch, and then Rumble goes through the same thing Twitch does, and it becomes?
But Rumble isn't attached to Amazon, so I think a lot of people are finding issue with Amazon being in control of Twitch. Because Rumble uses Amazon servers the same way Twitch is used, right? They all have to use the same servers. And so it's a weird thing happening, but there's competition in the market. So the streamers are trying to get Cenat to leave Twitch, right? Because I think somebody said that one of the people had like 100 million for the little dude or something. Yeah. Like something crazy. Yes, it might have been 200 million. And now Kai's being attacked from fellow streamers, calling him, you a slave, you don't want to leave Twitch, because Twitch is banning them, demonetizing, stopping this, stopping that, right? And they won't bend a budge. If you were Cenat, would you move? Would you take the money?
Yeah.
I would too. Well, I wonder what's stopping him from taking the money.
I think he's gonna take that money. He should take that money. And that whole back and forth with other streamers is just content. It's not true. Everyone would have taken that bread as well. Like how many people do we know?
No, they back
that have stood on the I'm never conforming to business or ever quote unquote selling out. Doing a good business deal is not selling out at all. That's actually some backward ass fucking narrative that people need to get out of their fucking head. Partnering with a corporation in the right way is beautiful.
Strategic partnerships is the best thing in life.
I never want people to get fucked over, but that doesn't make you a sellout because you went and did a deal with somebody.
Right.
Like, that's fucking nuts. Look
at this.
That's holding people back.
Right. It's earning your leisure. Still recording, big brother. All right. I'm trying to get me on.
You're going to punch back in. I sent it to you, Rory, but Andrew Tate, his first stream, his comeback stream, 432,000 consecutive.
That was with Pat Bev, right?
No, that was on. He did a stream on Rumble.
He did
400,000.
The valuetainment shit. He did an interview this week.
Yeah, I got him next week. Pat Bev.
First, live stream was him and his brother. They did it on Rumble.
What?
It's fine.
Let's talk about that for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah. So like, Kai should take that money and he should get away from Twitch if they keep banning him on some other shit. Go take your money somewhere else. Like,
yeah, that's what people are telling him, and they're being critical of him. And it's like, I want him to be comfortable with it, and I want to know maybe he has some information he's not sharing with them. But it seems like that he's like not moving, and people are like, yo, even Nicki Minaj just said, yo, take care of Kai, and they're not fucking what Nicki said. It's like they're not listening. Yeah. Drake said it. All these people who you would think Amazon would be like, Nicki and Drake? Nicki said she'll come if they just take care of them. Like usually Spotify busts a move on some shit like that. So,
but that's why I feel for Kai too. Like, it's a crazy position to be in where you don't just represent yourself, you represent
the market,
this entire market. Like the decision you make now will define.
Shifts. Yes.
Like you are him.
Yes.
Like, so I kind of understand why he's taking his
and
time.
that's
and
what
been a
I'm
little
saying.
quiet.
I don't want them to force it because it feels like and it seemed like it's weighing on him because he's starting to try to defend himself and be like, it's not true. I'm not no, it's not, bro. Tell him that I could have took that deal and da-da-da. It's like, bro, don't let him trick you. Just take your time.
Yep.
You have all the leverage in the world. You have all the context in the world. Take your time. Don't let these little guys trick you into busting a move because if you crash out, they're just going to laugh. You know, they're just going to laugh. Andrew Tate, we just were told by your producer.
Yes.
400,000 people watched his live stream.
And that ties into
Rumble.
the Joe Rogan conversation as well. The same way Tucker Carlson is taking Twitter bags, I think there's just another market besides Rogan and Spotify. But Tate now, like, he would have to go with someone like a Rumble that would put a bill up for him at that point.
Yeah, because he's that powerful. For 400,000 people. I was watching Pat Bev and there was like 160,000 in there just at once. And for Tate, you know they got new charges on him. I believe these interviews are not helping his situation.
He's it's funny, me and Julian were having this conversation walking here today after watching the Valuetainment interview that Andrew
Shout out to
he is
Pat Bev,
one of the
PBD
greatest manipulators of all time. Like, I know what time it is when I listen to him talk.
You believe him to be a manipulator?
100%.
Okay, how?
He's back to like 48 Laws of Power. He has mastered that. Like, the three of us could listen to his shit and know what time it is to some degree, like what's entertainment, what's not.
Yeah.
He is so entertaining and so compelling that every fucking lie he gets off sounds true. Like, I was even watching him on the Valuetainment shit talk about him converting to Islam. And I have a lot of Islamic friends. I'm very, very, very well versed in that religion. I could tell his response to him converting was absolute bullshit, but it was fucking compelling.
What did he say?
And I could
forgot.
honestly understand why someone would think he's telling the truth.
What did he say? I forgot. I know he said he went from
he was
Christian to atheist.
Yeah, and I, as someone that grew up Irish Catholic, like, he is right in his argument that Islam is probably the last religion that actually believes in the values that are within the book and their religion. Whereas me growing up Catholic, you don't really have to live by that shit. Just ask for forgiveness.
Right.
So he made an incredible, compelling argument, but I know he's trolling. He's just a very intelligent.
How? Because the fans are going to want me to have you explain that and just not let you get that off. Like, I know he's trolling. I know he's full of shit. All right, now, Rory,
let me put it this way.
You have the floor.
Let me put it this way. I don't know he is. I'm making an assumption.
Okay.
Watching Andrew Tate for quite some time, he comes across to me as very much a manipulator, a troll, but also an extremely intelligent human being. And he knows when he says certain things, the reaction it will get, and nobody could put together an argument better than him when it comes
is one of the most great
to that.
Yeah, he's definitely in that space. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
But I've also studied when he's broken character. Like, I can tell, like, you and I know sometimes you could just tell with people when they lie. So your fans will be like, he didn't give a compelling argument now.
Right.
I just know. It's a feeling I have.
Yeah.
He's lying. But he's the best at it. So, again, his cases, I don't know anything about it.
I don't take him to be a liar. I don't know, man.
Not a liar. All right, a liar, not per se.
Now, here's what I will say.
He embellishes, and liar's hard to say because he tells the lies that you can't really combat because it's him. Like, I can't say you're lying about your religion, even though I'm kind of saying it now. That's just shit. He's so good at placing his lies that can't really be debated because you can't debate that shit. If you feel that way and you're giving a good argument, Now I look nuts
kinda bag
for
up.
even saying you're lying right now.
But you're saying it.
I know. That's why he's so fucking good.
Oh, so
Do you get
okay,
it?
now I
Do you
see
get
what
what I'm
you're
saying?
Okay,
That's why he's so fucking
so
good.
what you're saying is how I would say it is he puts you in a trick bag.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And you
okay.
know he's lying, but you're like, he makes a good point.
Wow.
That's why that guy is the fucking GOAT when it comes to manipulation, narratives.
Now with these interviews, I find if he's so intelligent, somebody has to help me understand why I do these interviews when he's almost what look like to be almost off. Now, unless he thinks, no, they're coming with something anyway, so I need to kind of get out in front of it. I don't see why I do the interviews.
Because he's in the place now that his fans. He's such a cult
Can't keep worrying
that
about
you
the-
could get actual proof that he was a sex trafficker, and nothing's gonna change within his community.
Right.
They're all gonna love him because he's a cult leader. The same way. Did you watch what's the shit in Texas?
You think he has a cult?
Yes. No, literally as a cult. I watched the Vice doc. He has people living in.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
He's very much Waco.
Cause that dude went in there and like actually got a part of like they had to train and do certain
What was the
shit.
dude that was in?
Was
Waco?
that a cult? What was that?
I watched.
Koresh?
Yeah, David Koresh. All right, so David Koresh was a perfect example as well of what I'm talking about when it comes to Andrew Tate. David Koresh made such a compelling argument that it wasn't a cult. It was just a bunch of people that believed the exact same thing. No one was forced against their will. They were all here to do what they wanted to do. But that came from manipulation, and you were doing nasty shit, even though those people wanted to do the nasty shit that you wanted to do. Like, why that standoff happened in Waco for a month was because what he was saying, like, he was right. He's not breaking the law, but you're doing some nasty shit in here right now.
Right.
And that needs to stop.
Right.
But his arguments are so compelling and are fact-based that you
So
kind of
if
sit
that's
there.
the case, then how can see that?
We can't. That's why I'm
Yeah.
sitting here as a hypocrite. Like, I think he's lying, but I have no proof that he is.
Right. For him to do a 4.5 hour interview on bond in Romania,
Crazy.
I just didn't get that. And then he criticized them people. He went at them people saying certain stuff. Of course, he didn't talk in particular about the case, but to sit there all the time, and I'm utterly and honestly 100% utterly, I'm utterly, he keeps using that. I always hear him say that, I'm utterly 100% innocent.
And as
I know this case way more than you, and I'm utterly telling you, and it's like,
Okay, as someone that's been outside, when people use a certain word. So we're saying the same. I know he lying because I know liars.
Or that's his
and the fact
technique.
that you keep using that same fucking word every time
It's
means
technique involved.
Yes, you are manipulating.
Is there
it right
technique
now. It's the way
involved
a
in the
used
truth?
car salesman. Absolutely, and that goes back to 48 Laws of Power, and that cult-based shit. Almost even back to the ego of the villain thing. Like Andrew Tate has become the villain. And he's leaned into it more, and fan bases too go into wanting to like the villain. It's why we like superhero movies. It's like any cinema. The fan base cult shit that we have within the internet now, yeah, you get the good guy, but people love to love the villain. He's leaning into all that shit.
Yeah.
And because some of our egos like to be hated, that means our fan base also likes the guy that wants to be hated.
Who's worth more in the market, podcast market, Rogan or Tate?
Rogan, and that's unfair to
You think
even
Rogan
ask.
can get 400,000 people watching?
Andrew Tate is based off moments. Rogan has a returning customer that if he doesn't have a moment, he'll be there. I think the moments are important for him and they've been lacking, but he has a returning customer. Tate,
I think
I'm
Rogan
not going to sit and watch
I think Rogan as well.
week to week Andrew Tate podcast. I'm not going to do it.
I think Rogan as
I'll
well.
watch his moments.
I think Rogan as well, and I think for different reasons. I think because Rogan is a good host and Tate is a good guest. And so I think that the guest thing may run out before the host thing, right?
The villain shit is also tough. It only lasts for so long. Like, Rogan is liked amongst
and he's not wavering
amongst
either.
us. Like you get Chappelle and then you get Elon, like two completely different worlds, but the top of their worlds. That's what Rogan gets because he's likable. Like that's where that whole try to be the villain thing, I understand, but it's such a short term plan.
Right.
Like you'll be hated for shit. 6ix9ine did it. I'm not talking about anything within Treyway or anything that,
Right.
but how he marketed himself
Right.
as the villain.
Right.
It worked for so long until it was time to put an album out, and it was like, oh no, we just like your villain
Right.
of you
Yeah.
being a fucking dickhead. I don't really
And this
I
is
don't
the
really
same
care
thing.
about you.
Full circle. This is the same thing I was saying about a lot of these people operating in that YouTube space.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, we don't really care about you. Who shot who? Like, that's what you reporting. That's why we here. We don't really give a fuck who
about
tell
you.
us.
Yeah.
Like, it could be anybody tell. I told Chris Monroe, let's get you up here and do what they're doing. Like, cause
that'd be nuts.
yo, bro, anybody saying this shit will, like, as long as they believe it to be true and first.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so
What's the number one YouTube comment ever?
first. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so you have to pay attention to all of those things. For me, you know, Rogan, in my opinion, warrants more than Tate. But again, I think it's because he's a good host.
Yeah.
And Tate's a good guest. You know, and I think those are the things. Man, great conversation. And we didn't even get into the weeds for real. I didn't even get into the weeds with you.
You have to come on our pod.
Yeah,
With me
man,
and Mo. Three
whenever.
of us gotta chop it up.
Yeah, whenever. I'll come, man. Just let's set that up, man. It's Up There Podcast. Rory, man, y'all do something with that game. Let's get it. Hey, I'm gonna get a drop.